home comes with fair share of perks like not being obliged to take a bath early in the morning. We can freely eat whenever we want. And we get to hang out with our family more. It also comes with some drawbacks. Mainly, feeling like we're always at work. Experts agree that burnout while working from home is very real, especially during a global pandemic.
Not only are they working on their regular job, but they're also working on some other things as well, such as homeschooling or the everyday things that we do in life, such as grocery shopping. A lot of things that we do that take minutes, or you can structure time around it. It is taking longer. So what's actually happening is that we are feeling like we have less time.
On top of that, the lines between work and non work were already blurred before the current situation, but they're almost non existent when your office is your bedroom, living room, or dining room.
One of the downsides, I think, of working from home is the removal of all boundaries, like the structural boundaries of going to the office, the commute that would kind of separate our work from our home space. And I think that can just lead to more instances of burnout, which is feeling emotionally exhausted and tired all the time.
With the coronavirus pandemic causing millions to work from home for the first time, work from home productivity is on everyone's mind. But what's more important than making sure you get enough done when you work from home is knowing when to stop. So, how can we leave our work at the door if we're no longer going out the door? I have a question, and I need a fast answer. You ready? What day is it? If you answered Tuesday, congratulations. Because nowadays it's really hard to keep a track of time. If you feel like your days have been blending together lately, you are not alone. Before, it's easy to compartmentalize our work week with things like commutes, weekend plans, and Monday morning banter. But because of our current situation, those rituals disappear. Instead, days seem to blend together.
Afternoons suddenly turn to nights. Weekdays and weekends become interchangeable. Our sense of time is totally thrown off, making it easier than ever to work or think about work all the time.
To make matters worse, people who transition to remote work often suffer from what's called work from home guilt. According to Ms. Laura M. George in one of her articles in Harvard Business Review,
Many employees who are working remotely for the first time are likely to struggle to preserve healthy boundaries between their professional and personal lives. To signal their loyalty, devotion, and productivity, they may feel they have to work all the time.
even before coronavirus, we knew that employees who feel on all the time are at a higher risk of burnout. But this feeling has become even more pronounced in the current situation. In the search for some sense of normality, many of us latch onto work. But the more you're always on, the more your team will be the same. In a series of 5 studies, researchers found that
Senders of after hours work emails underestimate how compelled receivers feel to respond right away, even when such emails are not urgent.
all this leads to a perfect storm of work from home burnout. Prolonged periods of stress caused by uncertainty, a lack of boundaries both in time and space, and the stress of adapting to working from home. Due to these unique circumstances, remote workers and virtual managers need to be extra vigilant in spotting and resolving professional burnout. Here are 4 common warning signs to look for in yourself or your teammates that are easy to see in virtual channels like video calls and chat apps.
Burnout red flag number 1. Avoiding work. Is your inbox piling up? Are you letting phone calls ring? Are you consistently late to meetings? Have you caught yourself procrastinating? Often, when we're feeling burned out at work, we suddenly want to do everything except work. Burnout red flag number 2. Declining performance. Is the quality of your work declining? If you make a mistake, do you try to blame others? In the early stages of burnout, our brains are constantly in a state of stress, which switches them into survival mode, causing us to slip in our ambition and responsibility. Burnout red flag number 3: apathy or exhaustion. Do you feel a lack of pride about your accomplishments? Have you been neglecting your usual self care habits? Are you staying silent during meetings and conversations? And is it difficult for you to focus or be patient with others? In general, if you're feeling bitter or you just don't care about things that you usually do, you're probably headed toward a full blown burnout. Burnout red flag number 4: inability to disconnect. Are you consistently working more than your contracted number of hours? Do you respond to work related calls or messages during personal events? Is the first and last thing that you look at every day is your phone or work device? Too much of a good thing can be bad, including work.
In a remote work environment, professionals don't have the benefit of office mates to notice subtle changes in behavior, prompting an intervention. Therefore, each professional is responsible for self management, including a self awareness of the symptoms and the discipline to enforce a solution before it sabotages their career. So, here are 5 easy strategies to combat work from home burnout and revive the creativity, organization, and motivation that you need to professionally thrive again in your location irrelevant career.
Create a dedicated work from home space, even if it's just a chair at your kitchen table. One of the most important things that you can do to protect yourself from burnout is to create boundaries for your day.
While a lot of that has to do with when and how much you work, it also has to do with where you work. You don't need a corner office at home to make this work. All you need is a dedicated workspace that lets you walk away at the end of the day. If you have kids at home, a dedicated space can also help create boundaries with them. Set up a system to let them know when it's okay to visit or when you need time to focus.
Use rituals to start and end your workday. Even if you're working a flexible schedule because you're looking after kids or some essential tasks that you do, you need little reminders to help you move between the different states of your day and actually focus on what's in front of you.
A physical workspace helps you separate work from the rest of your home life. But you need to pair physical boundaries with mental ones as well. Rituals are symbolic actions performed at key moments that help us maintain our habits, switch contexts, and keep work at work. It's called boundary crossing activities. Physical and social indicators that something has changed. Here are a few examples.
Example rituals to start your day: shower and put on work clothes. Make coffee and plan your daily to do list. Go for a walk to replace your commute. Example rituals to end your day: close all browser tabs and clean up your desktop. Set your phone in airplane mode as you cook. Put away your laptop and read a chapter of a book. In the end, the rituals themselves don't matter as much as what they mean to you. Set realistic goals and track your progress. The more clearly you can see the positive progress you make each day, the less likely you'll be to overwork and hit work from home burnout.
Of course, none of these boundaries or rituals matter if you're completely overwhelmed. Instead, you need to set realistic goals for each day and have an easy way to track your progress. Researchers have found that the most important factor for feeling accomplished and happy at the end of the day is seeing real progress or meaningful work.
Go offline when you need to focus on your most important work. Give yourself space to do important work so you have time and energy for everything else later on.
Stephen King has a famous quote about writing that is equally important for working from home. Write with the door closed, rewrite with the door open. When you need to focus and make progress on important work, you need to be distraction free. This means shutting down both the physical door to family or home distractions and your virtual door, your inbox, chat app, and every other notification sending tool. In an office, it's easy to shut a door or do something else to signal that you're focused and shouldn't be bothered. But at home, your colleagues or family don't see those. Instead, you need to rely on a few tools at your disposal: the DND or do not disturb, and airplane mode. Every device has some way to shut off notifications. At a minimum, close your inbox and chat app. Second, conversations about your schedule. Working from home means losing visibility. Take a few minutes to talk to your coworkers about when you're available and when you need to focus. Custom status updates. Turn off notifications that are distracting you and on it until you finish.
Stop checking emails outside of working hours and tell others why you aren't. You have control over when you're available, but you'll never stick to your schedule if you don't tell others what you're doing.
According to a research, 132 billion business emails are sent every single day, and many of them come in outside of work hours. To protect yourself from work from home burnout, you can't be beholden to your inbox at all hours of the day. Again, this often comes down to communicating expectations. Have conversations with your team about when you'll respond to messages. For external emails, try using a custom out of office message or even your signature to inform and set expectations.
Lastly, give yourself a break. We all need help carving out time that's just for us. Work can infiltrate every moment of our days. That's true now as well as in the future when we adapt to whatever the new normal is.
But that's the problem. None of what we're going through is normal. And while the advice above should help you create boundaries and avoid work from home burnout, it takes time to build it into your habits and routines. So, give yourself a break. It's okay to take time to figure this out and discover what your personal normal is going forward. To end this, let's watch Miss Lisette Sutherland as she gives tips in preventing burnout by setting work boundaries.
You've really got to put your own boundaries in place. And I think that's the number one thing that people struggle with when going remote first is we tend to overwork instead of underwork. And burnout is far more prevalent than laziness in that sense. And so that's the other place that I would tell people to really pay attention. Like, what are some boundaries that you can do? So for me, for instance, my working hours are between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And that doesn't mean I'm working 12 hours a day. It means that, those are within those hours is when I do my work. But at 9 p.m., I shut the door and then that's it. I don't check emails and, I don't look at anything work related because you need the in between time. You really do need to shut down more than just a good night's sleep. Your brain has to be able to wander a bit and to focus on other things. So you really have to put boundaries in place for yourself. And it sounds really easy, and I make the analogy with weight loss. Like, we all know the formula: eat less and move more. But anybody that's tried to lose weight knows that it's not that easy. It's super hard, actually. And to keep that up over time is excruciating. So it's the same with our boundaries. I mean, it's easy enough to say, like, okay, after 9 o'clock, I don't check my emails. But man, if I've been waiting on an email all day and it's 10:30 and I'm still, I'm like, oh, I wonder if the email came in. Like, I'm totally checking. So it's incredibly difficult to do that. And there's this awesome cartoon, The Oatmeal, that has
I love
a
a
cartoon.
cartoon.
Yeah, it's so, and they have this one that's called, the why working from home is both awesome and horrible. And it's so true, because it's awesome because we have ultimate freedom, right? We have the freedom to design a workspace and a lifestyle around anything that we want. If you can be 100% remote, you could be a digital nomad, or you could be training for a triathlon. You could, whatever it is you want to do, you can design your lifestyle. But the thing is, it's also horrible at the same time, because we have ultimate freedom, which means there are no boundaries anywhere, and we have to put those in place for ourselves. Whereas before, we went to the office, and the boundary was the office walls, and you left at 5 or 6 or whenever people leave, and then you go home. Well, we don't have that anymore. So you have to make it for yourself. And so that's why I say it's both awesome and horrible, because it's really hard.
Thank you so much for checking out this clip from the Data Talk podcast. To watch the full episode, you can either go to the Experian blog. The URL is experian.com/datatalk.